Welcome back to Sandra Sells and Tells, Real Estate, Real People, and Real Plymouth. Today's episode is one that's very close to my heart. As many of you know, I hold the SRES designation, which means I specialize in working with seniors and their families through life transitions. A big part of my work involves helping families prepare homes when a loved one is moving into an assisted living or memory care. This just isn't professional for me, and I'm going to try to keep it together. It's personal. My father had dementia, so I don't just help families move through this process. I actively educate myself so that I can understand it better, support it better, and serve families with empathy and clarity. That's why I'm honored today to have Grace Doherty with us. She is the Area Community Liaison for Bridges of EPOCH, a memory care community dedicated specifically to individuals living with Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia. Today, we're going to talk about when to start the conversation, what families should expect, and how to navigate one of life's hardest decisions with compassion and confidence. So get comfy, keep driving, grab your beverage of choice, and listen. You will not be disappointed. Grace, welcome to the show.
Sandra, great to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
Absolutely. So you are the Area Community Liaison for Bridges by EPOCH.
Correct.
And community area, Bridges by EPOCH, there's several. So which ones do you represent?
I represent the South Shore, which covers our Mashpee, Pembroke, Hingham, and Westwood communities. Okay. We have some up in the Metro West North area. We have some in Connecticut and New Hampshire, and our independent living in New York.
All right. And what makes memory care different from traditional assisted living?
So memory care is specialized in dementia care. So our caregivers, our staff are all trained in dementia care. It's specific. It's not your everyday assisted living. There's more to it than that. We're 24/7. We have activities that are engaging towards those that may have dementia. And so it's just like you have specialists in the hospital setting or something, we're specialists in dementia care.
Excellent. And I know that you guys are a locked unit, so they do not try to get out.
We like to call them secure.
Yes.
Because locked sounds a little scary
Does.
sometimes. So, yes, we're secure. So when you come in, our communities are made up of households, and we mostly have 3, some have 4. And there's a key fob, music go in and out. And it's just a nice comfort, safe for the resident. Absolutely.
Towards the end of my dad's last year, he had to be in a memory care unit. So I totally understand. And he unfortunately got frontal temporal lobe dementia at 62. So when we moved him in, he presented young, and he tricked a lot of people saying they thought he was the adult son visiting his parents, and he would tell them that he forgot the code to try to get out. And he tricked 2 people before they figured it out, but that's very good. So let's get back to, at what point should families begin considering memory care?
Well, I think it's mostly when it's a safety concern. Maybe they're losing weight, bills are piling up, they got lost driving their car somewhere to a place they go to on a regular basis. So it's not always dementia. It could be something else, but it pays to get checked out, have a doctor, a neurologist if they need to make sure that there's nothing else going on. And it's just those little things. Their hygiene is not good. They're not eating. They're open the refrigerator door, and the meals they may have brought over or that are there are not eaten.
Haven't been touched. Yeah. So little warning signs that they continue to build up.
Correct.
Over time. Pay attention to that.
Right. Injuries that are unexplained. Those kinds of things.
Good. So what is the biggest fear families express when they first walk through your doors?
Well, because we are a private pay community, a lot of times it's like, oh, we can't afford this. Parents don't generally share their financial status with their children, and therefore they don't understand or they don't know what their parents have. I get it. It's it's an age and stage kind of thing. But
that generation was very close-lipped.
Very close-lipped. Just going through that with my aunt right now. And so I think that's number one. Number two, my mother's not like this. My father's not like this.
Denial.
They're not. The denial is huge. If there's a spouse involved, a lot of times there's compensation. So, they're covering up for some things that may be not necessarily normal at that age. So I think the fear is financial. The fear is living in a community with other people, losing their independence, quote, their independence, and being the child that has to put their parents somewhere, the guilt.
Right. And that guilt is big. And I was going to be like one of my next questions is just that's got to be the biggest. It's hard for the parent first because some people that get dementia are aware of it, right? So it's hard for them to lose, that dignity and awareness and admit it themselves. And then for the adult children to see their parents like that, somebody they looked up to their whole life that has guided and directed them. And now I always say life comes full circle.
Yes, it does.
And you're taking care of your parents now, and it's a different role. So what would be a piece of advice you would give to families about when is the right time to consider a memory care unit?
Yeah, I think if you have a concern, talk to a trusted person, whether it be the doctor. We have lots of resources. I mean, I always say, give us a call, whether it's Bridges, our community, or another community, and maybe start talking about the challenges you're having with your loved one. And that would then lend itself to what we call discovery, and there's more and more and more, and it kind of pulling out the pieces. A memory care community may not be the right fit at that time. Maybe it's adult day health. Maybe it's some home care through home services. Maybe you need to bring somebody else in, such as a geriatric care manager or an advocate that could kind of be the nonpartisan sounding board. If there's big families, not everybody's in agreement. There's usually one or two that get to see the loved one on a regular basis. So sometimes they see more, sometimes they see less.
Very true.
And the people who fly in and visit less regularly for whatever reason, they may notice the differences. So having the right guidance is very helpful. And I feel that our senior advisors in the buildings are really good at kind of sussing out what the needs might be. And we are not always where they want to go, both physically at the time or financially. It might not be something they can afford. And then we can make recommendations and suggestions for the other resources they may be able to use.
So I'll jump ahead to that question. Like, how is memory care generally paid for?
So it's a private pay. Mm-hmm. We do take long-term care insurance.
Okay.
And we also accept veterans if they qualify for the veterans.
That's the aid and attendance benefit?
Aid and attendance benefit, okay. Correct. And so that's how our particular industry covers it. We're a social model, not a medical model, so there's no health quote insurance, Medicaid, Care insurance that covers it.
I know, and it can be expensive.
It can be expensive. So like if somebody lives at home, and we do work with some companies that can help bridge funding while they sell a home. A lot of times they don't want to sell the home.
It's very hard to leave the family home. I've, run across that a lot through my career as they're trying to transition out to leave this safe space that they've known, because most of the time they either built that house or they lived there and they got 40, 50 years of memories and stuff, a lot of stuff in that home, and to try to sort through it and think, I can't leave this, but sometimes that stuff doesn't help with the overwhelmness of what's going on.
I think that's when you bring people in too. There are people who
companies
help to do
that. Yeah.
And I think sometimes when it's somebody it's not connected, it can help. They can help make it an easier transition, both for the person who's living there and leaving, and the family who is afraid of upsetting the parent.
Right. So that's another question. The family has met with you. They've decided this is the place that mom or dad needs to go. What personal items are most helpful for them to bring with them to memory care unit?
So we always recommend if they can bring the bed. A lot of times they're moving into a twin bed now. They're not in a full bed, but a full bed or twin bed, I would say not a queen or a king, but bring their bed, bring their linens, bring their bed covers, a chair they like to sit in, a comfy chair, lamps, pictures, photo albums, things that when they come into their apartment, we call them apartments, when they come into that apartment, it feels familiar. And if it feels familiar, they can start to feel more comfortable. If it's all brand new, which it does happen too, sometimes people cannot move their things. And so if there's anything they can, gather from the home, if it's a blanket, it's just some little piece that makes them feel welcome and at home.
That reminds them of home, right?
Correct.
Because even though the memory is going, they still hold on to like memories, and there's things that they see every day in their everyday living in their current home. So to go somewhere else and see that, it's very important. I know how much that means. So what types of therapies or enrichment programs make the biggest impact on people moving into your community?
So music, they never lose the song and the singing, and a lot of sing-alongs. Music
so
therapy,
true.
That's huge.
Right, any song, and they know all the words.
Every word.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I was with a woman the other day and just started singing. She started singing along and doesn't speak much, but the song and the words come through. So music therapy is huge. We have pet therapy. People come in with dogs, and we have dogs in the community. Like our staff, one of our staff members in one of the communities, brings their dog every day, and they know the dog. They have birthday parties for all the dogs that come to visit. Art therapy is one. And part of the music therapy, if I go back to that, South Shore Conservatory comes in, and they have like drum circles, and it's not just a musical interlude. There's actual data that it shows that they learn new, even though they have memory impairment. If they continue coming in on a regular basis, our residents do learn again. New connections are made, and whether it in any form. So that and just physical therapy. They have chair yoga, and they play games. I mean, they have cornhole, and they have volleyball with the balloon, and things that just keep them. So they may not be quote therapies, but they are therapeutic, and they keep them active. Correct.
And I know I've been to your communities and other assisted livings on the South Shore and the Cape, and I know that usually a lot of them, when weather providing, outside gardening or things like
Correct.
that, or you have an outdoor secure area for them to walk out, because some people, that's what they did. They gardened all the time.
Correct.
And they wanted to be outside. Do you guys have that at your communities?
We do. All our communities have actually very nice sized courtyards, we call them, and we have gardens that they put herbs in, and then the chefs use them in the food that they make. So we love to connect that piece of that person to what they loved. So planting the flowers, planting the garden, trimming the trees, sweeping the ground. Like, it might be the maintenance job to make sure the leaves are off the ground or the dirt's off. Well, there's people there that love to do that, and they hand them the broom and they go ahead, and they might have to follow after them, but that's what they used to do. So those are the kinds of therapies you don't have a specific form, but it does work as a therapy for them.
Absolutely. So you mentioned chef. Let's get to that. So do you guys provide 3 meals a day, or do they know to go down there to the dining room?
Well, They do. I think it's a inner clock that tells them that they're hungry, because we're all. I think people go in routine. It works well for us, right? So they know breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They know that if they go to 1 or 2 or 3 different types of activities, by the third one they're like, okay, it's lunchtime or it's dinner time. Breakfast is usually, they get up, they get showered, dressed, and our aides help bring them.
I was just going to say, you have aides that help those that might need help.
That might need help. And so now we have breakfast. So then they know to get up. They know to go and brush their teeth. They know now it's time for an activity. We have about 10 of them a day throughout the day. Not all residents attend, but they're encouraged to. And sometimes they attend, they don't participate, but they're part of the whole process. So, so the chefs make 3 meals a day. They have snacks all the time. We do cookouts in the garden, in the courtyard during the good weather. We have family events. We have that we invite the families to come in, a cookout or a happy birthday party or things like that. So, yeah.
That sounds so nice. Makes them feel at home.
It makes them feel at home.
Right?
Correct.
So how would you say you help them maintain dignity and independence? Because that's what they feel like they've lost.
Right. So I think the biggest piece of that is communication, respect. So you meet somebody for the first time, lock eyes, hello, look them in the face, smile. Smile always brings something. Yeah. But also think about how you would want to be treated. And that's our caregivers are trained. They know how to approach. They know how to help somebody who may be reluctant maybe to get dressed or help them in the shower. How do you do that so that it makes them feel like they're part of it? And there is a training that goes along with that. But also it's giving them the opportunity to understand you're helping them. Or can you help me help you? And so that helps with some of that activities of daily living and the personal care and things like that. I think just encouraging them in a kind way, introducing them to people, treating them like a person, not somebody who has a special disease, but we have them joking, tell them a joke. Sometimes they like them and sometimes they don't. And then they'll joke back at you. Like it's kind of it's a great give and take, especially if you have the right caregivers. They just bring out the best in our residents.
Awesome. Yeah. And just treat them normal.
Treat them normal.
Right. Exactly. So how does Bridges support the family and not just the resident?
So if somebody calls our community and they're saying, I don't know if this is the right fit, whatever, we have programs that we can offer, education programs on a monthly basis. We have support groups, both virtually and in person. So someone who calls us, they may not be ready for that next step, but they can participate in those without ever having to move their loved one in. We also provide them with resources such as home care and adult day health and advocates that would help them maybe navigate the health care.
That's great.
Yeah, we recommend making sure that they check to make sure all the loved one's estate plan is in order. Their wills, their healthcare proxy, their power of attorney. So we're not the specialists in that, but we can kind of bring it up and recommend that they have all those things
to the right people
and connect them to the right people to make sure it's done, because it makes it a lot easier when the time comes. Because if you move into our community, you have to have a diagnosis of dementia. And so that is something that we do find some of them people don't. And so it's a matter of trying to figure out how to navigate that to get that kind of a diagnosis.
Very good. And I know there's all sorts of resources available that most people just are not aware of. And sometimes you guys might get the call when it's like crisis mode, right? Or there was an episode that happened, or you touched on earlier how, I'm, one of 11. So with my father, same thing. Like not everybody saw him day to day, and I didn't live in the same state as him either. So if I'd see him every few months, it'd be like, oh, what's happening here? Like you can tell there's changes. But, and sometimes too, I notice too, it tends to fall on one or two of the family members. It's
Usually the oldest daughter.
Yeah. And, so it's helpful to know that, if a family had questions or concerns and we're starting to see mom or dad making these changes, and heading in that direction, that you guys have got resources or recommendations available to them. Oftentimes, you try to keep the parent at home because we all, want to age at home if we can. But, it's a lot of work as a caregiver, and especially an adult caregiver when you're trying to take care of your own. So, the adult caregiver, when my father got it, I still had children in high school, right? They were high school, not young kids, but, a lot of my siblings had young kids or newborns even.
Right.
So, that's a lot when you're trying to raise your own family and take care of your parent at the same time. So it's good to hear that you guys also provide like Zoom caregiver support groups, right?
Correct,
if you can't get to it in person.
Correct.
So,
and education. I think it comes down to understanding the disease, because a lot of times it's the first experience for these families. So even going to one or two educational programs, with whether it's through Bridges or through the Alzheimer's Association.
Yeah. Because there's many different kinds of dementia.
Many. There's over 100 different kinds of dementia. Dementia is the umbrella.
Yeah.
And all the dementias fall underneath it. Alzheimer's, Lewy body, vascular. They're all
frontal temporal lobe.
Frontal temporal, correct.
Yeah, it's most people aren't aware of that. Oh, they've got Alzheimer's, and it's not. There's just so many different pieces to it, but connecting with the right doctor as well too, and somebody being on it. So, so if someone was listening right now and worried about a loved one, what should they do first? So,
they could contact us, me, but also the Alzheimer's Association is a good place to start.
Yeah. Excellent website with excellent programs.
Correct.
Yeah. Helpline.
Helpline is a 24/7 helpline, and it's answered by a real person. I think go to the sources that know the disease, and that would be the Alzheimer's Association, or down the Cape, I think there's the Alzheimer's Family Support Center.
Yep.
They could contact memory care, assisted living, ourselves included. Because that's all we do have the knowledge behind us. So again, never feel like there's a question you can't ask. Don't feel like I'm calling them and now I'm going to be on their list and you know what, you might be, but the true point is, if we can help you get to the right resources, that's what we want to do.
I'm going to say you might be a little bit like me in my industry. Like somebody might come to you first and doing the fact finding, but now's not the time for mom or dad to move in with you. They're going to try it at home first on their own, and then with helpers and home care, and maybe even a live-in until they're like, yeah, no, we really need to get them into the secure unit. Because people call me to sell their house, and it could take a year, 4 years, 5 years. Right. Before they actually sell that house, because it's a process to get it ready. So there's no timetable for anyone. And I know sometimes I've gotten it too. I've gotten a call last minute, oh, they're going into assisted living. We need to sell the house because we need the money for the house, right? And it's a crisis mode of something that happened right away. So getting the word out now and the information out is super helpful. So if somebody wanted to, reach out to you guys or come for a tour to find out, okay, what does this memory care, look like? What do these secure units look like? How do they go about reaching out to you guys and making that happen? So
I do recommend that. I think it's a great idea to check things out.
Yeah.
And more than one. I don't just recommend going to one. I think Bridges is the one, but truly do a comparison as to what the need is at that time.
Yeah.
They can contact Bridges, any one of our Bridges communities directly, or go to the website, www.bridgesbyepic.com. They can reach out to myself. I can give you my cell phone number if that helps, or an email, whatever you think would be best.
Sure.
And to navigate that, just to help navigate that beginning, it's the first step is the hardest.
Yes.
Because I think once you understand that there are services out there that can help, that's not just, long-term care, in an assisted living and or skilled nursing, I think it makes it a little easier for the family to absorb that. So
start early.
Start early, correct.
So that actually is going to lead us to, it's been a wealth of information to learn about memory care and Bridges by EPOCH. I end each of my podcasts with a key of the week. And this week's key of the week is plan early, decide calmly, and love loudly. So don't wait till crisis mode because it happens often. Start conversations early. If you start noticing little signs of mom and dad being more forgetful or, like you said, not changing, not eating, not leaving one particular spot in the room, get educated and build your team, right? Because it's not just you. Get the medical, get the legal, get the financial, get the housing underway, and start researching. And I would definitely start the fact-finding now if you're starting to notice little signs and symptoms before it gets too late, because it's better. Decisions usually end up better if they're resolved more calmly, less urgently, and everybody feels safe. So plan early, decide calmly, love loudly is this week's key of the week. So Grace, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge today and your heart. Because I know what you do comes from the heart, having to live through it with my father. These conversations are not always easy, but they are necessary. If you're listening and you're walking through this season with a parent or a loved one, please know that you are not alone. And if part of that transition involves preparing or selling a home, I'm here to guide you through that piece with patience, strategy, and understanding. As always, this is about real estate, but yes, much more important, it's about real people and real life transitions. I'll see you next time on Sandra Sells and Tells. Until then, keep listening and sharing, and if you like a specific topic, send me a message. Sandra Sells and Tells.